So one time I have a friend come over and we spent most of the night not exactly sober, mainly just playing video games like Kirby or something, that kind of stuff. And out of the blue, from about 5 minutes of neither of us saying anything, he turns to me as if his eyes just lit up, as if whatever's in the back of his head just sparked on at some point, and he says, "You know what we gotta watch? Face Off. We have to watch Face Off tonight." And I say, "What the fuck's Face Off?" And he says, it's Nicolas Cage and it's John Travolta. And they swap faces. And one of them's a cop and the other's a mob boss. And you just gotta see Face Off. And I say, fine, but watch Face Off then. And through the rest of the night he's going, yeah, but we gotta watch Face Off though. And I'm like, we gotta watch Face Off. Just as soon as we finish this, we're gonna watch Face Off. And eventually we do put Face Off on. And he's getting really excited, like, I don't know, it's his favourite movie or something. He's never talked about Face Off before in his life. But here we are, him getting incredibly excited. So, the movie starts. And it's Face Off. If you've ever seen Face Off, he's not too far off. So John Travolta's a cop, Nicolas Cage is a mob boss. No, it's the other way around. And they swap faces. So John Travolta can infiltrate the mob boss's gang or something. And then, well, it doesn't really work because the only people who knew about the operation die. I can't remember how. And they die. And they swap faces. And John Travolta, now with the face of Nicolas Cage, is put in prison and nobody believes he's John Travolta. Well, Nicolas Cage, everyone thinks he's a cop and he gets a free pass. And I'm sitting there thinking, okay, the faces have changed. I can suspend my disbelief for that much. But what about the bodies? I mean, surely they haven't swapped bodies as well. Surely someone can have a look at the builds of these vastly different looking men and say, they are not the same person. And he turns to me and he says, look, he's a cop, he's a mob boss, and they swapped faces, and that's why people think they're the other one. And I say, fine, whatever, sure. So eventually, I spark up again and I say, wait, the voices, how the hell are the voices different? They've only swapped faces. There's no way the voices can be different in this scenario. Someone would know. They're either doing really good impressions, but even then. And he says, look, he's a cop and he's a mob boss. And they've swapped faces so he can infiltrate the mob boss's gang, but it didn't work because they can say, fine, they've swapped faces. Yeah, fair enough. And we're watching it later on. And John Travolta, who's actually Nicolas Cage, has sex with John Travolta's wife. And I bring up the last point and say, look, they've got doesn't one of them have a scar or something? You'd think that would be a plot point, like the wife takes off the clothes and then there's a scar, or they didn't have a scar or something or other. Can't really remember it. And basically the wife should know that that's not John Travolta's body. And he turns to me and he says, look, he's a cop. He's a mob boss. And they've swapped faces. What are you going to do? And so the movie gets to the climax where I can't, they're having a shoot-off or something. And one character jumps in and starts firing, and I'm thinking, oh, so they were on his side all along. And he just turns to me and he says, like he's got his face in his hands, and he says, look, he's a cop. And he's about like he's really disappointed in me, like I'm not getting such a simple premise. And Face Off ends at some point, and there we go. It's a decent movie. I mean, I don't remember a thing about it besides the stuff that didn't make sense, and even then, it's not all that memorable. And I think we pass out at some point. Wake up the next day, and I say, "Fucking hell, what happened last night? You were so eager to watch Face Off. It's like, is that your favourite movie or something? You never mentioned it before." And he turns to me, he turns his head slowly, looks me dead in the eye, and he says, the fuck's Face Off?